could that be? What's that? Blue color reloading. That's the bullets. I'm gonna have to do some testing now. Wait. I could do a video. Hey, welcome back. As soon as Hornady announced the Aeromatch bullets, I was inquisitive. I mean, at $10 per 100 less than the appropriate matching burger, these could save a lot of money. But the question is, do they perform as well as the burgers? And do they live up to the claims that Hornady makes about these bullets? Let's find out. Sorry, the box was heavy. I didn't want to hold it the entire video. So the problem here is, how do you test it? Because Hornady makes three primary claims, the first being that you don't need to adjust your seating die, the second being that you don't need to adjust your load, and the third being that you don't need to adjust your ballistic solver. But is any of that true? All of it true? None of it true? Let's find out. So we start by comparing them to the appropriate burger bullet, the 105 hybrid. And in doing that, we're going to do a dimensional check first, just to see if they're anywhere near the same. Now, I don't have an optical comparator, and I don't have time to do a comparison of 100 bullets. I'm just doing a generalization to see if they're anywhere near close. So the first thing I did was check the total bullet diameter. And they're close. This is not unexpected with a 6mm bullet. They're going to be 243 something. And while we're measuring, let's go ahead and measure base to ogive with my brand new Holland Gold Standard bullet comparator. When I measure them, they're within 1.5 thousandths of each other, which is actually within the tolerances that I find lot to lot for burger bullets, so everything's good. Let's load some ammo. While loading ammo, I didn't adjust the seating die. I just seated the exact same setting for both sets of bullets. And oddly enough, the combined base to ogive measurement for both sets of rounds was within 1/1000th of an inch of each other. In other words, the first claim that Hornady made, that you don't need to change your seating die, is absolutely correct. It doesn't need to be changed. But that's not where the rubber meets the road with a bullet. The rubber meets the road in shooting, so let's go shoot them. Now, I loaded the exact same load for both of them, 31.4 grains of Varget in a 6-dasher cartridge with an overall length of whatever it happened to be. The same exact overall length as I had with the Burger Hybrid. Now, the plan was pretty simple. I was going to shoot 20 rounds of each in 10-shot groups, comparing them at 600 yards for group size, velocity, and BC. If you want to know how I test BC, go watch this video up here, because I explain it in a little more detail there. I'm not going to go into that today because you guys really don't care how I did it, just what the results are. Speaking of results, there was a significant difference in a couple of areas here that I want to talk about. The first was in velocity. For the same exact load, in the same cases, with the same powder, loaded at the same time, the Hornady's averaged 10 feet a second faster for velocity coming out of the muzzle. I don't know why, I don't even have a guess why. Either way, it doesn't matter, it goes a little faster coming out of the muzzle, which may lead you to believe that the next thing that I observed might be caused by the first thing I observed, and that is that there is a significant difference in the precision of the load. Now, I did not do load development with Aeromatch bullets. Remember, they claimed that I didn't have to change a load, so I just shot the exact same load. And I had a statistically significant difference in precision after just 10 rounds of each. 150% the size for mean radius, and the standard deviation was small enough that we did achieve statistical significance with this very small sample. In other words, the best I can tell, by using the exact same load, I cannot get equivalent precision performance out of the Aeromatch bullet. That doesn't mean they aren't capable of good precision or great precision. It just means that with the load that I developed for a 105 hybrid, they don't work quite so well. It might need a little more load development, or it may not be quite as precise of a bullet. I can't tell from here. I didn't sample it large enough to tell that. Now, the last thing that you need to know about is BC, because if you're shooting this bullet in its intended purpose, which is PRS, you're going to need to know the BC. You're going to have to be close on your BC, which means we need to compare how they line up for BC as far as we can tell. Now, using my 600-yard method, measuring the muzzle velocity and the impact velocity with the electronic target, I found that there is a difference in BC. That difference is 1.9%. So if a 105 hybrid is a .275 G7, the 105 Aeromatch would be .270. This is not a huge difference, but it is a significant difference in BC. So with a difference in BC and a difference in precision and a difference in velocity as a result of loading the exact same load, is the Aeromatch bullet a good bullet? Well, I don't have that much information about them. All I do know is they don't perform super well when used in the exact same load as my 105 hybrid. Now, does that mean that the Aeromatch bullets are useless? Absolutely not. they would be a perfect fit for my practice routine because I'm shooting so much volume that $10 per 100 turns into quite a bit of money by the end of the year. And realistically, I can shoot the burgers for matches. That makes me most comfortable and is the way that I'm going to use them. In the end, you have to practice as much or more than you shoot matches, so you might want to try the 105 Aeromatch for your practice needs, especially for banging steel. Now, if you're a type that tends to shoot paper like F-class, I just don't recommend this bullet. I don't think it shoots quite well enough for F-class. On the other hand, I could be wrong after a little more load development, but I'm not going to spend the time and resources to load develop the 500 Aeromatch bullets that I have. All right, guys, until next time, shoot straight, choose your bullets wisely because they do make a difference, and I'll see you in the next video.